Okay. I'm having all kinds of internet webcam problems right now. So I made a response, but I think my response was just lost. So I'm gonna make this one a new one. I'm a big fan of the Pinky Show, so I'm hoping all my subscribers will watch this and then watch your Pinky Show clips, so that way they'll, they can help out with this project. Um, I don't really feel like going around and interviewing people, but that is something I do like to do every now and then. But I was thinking about your question, what is Americanism? And I mean, you got the quote from Malcolm X. You paraphrase Malcolm X. So, I'm pretty sure Malcolm X's definition of Americanism might be different than many other people's definition of Americanism. But I would assume, according to Malcolm X, given what I've read about the man, he probably meant Americanism means the American psychological propaganda system. The lies or the propaganda that we tell ourselves to belong within this culture, which would make him a victim of Americanism, because I would say a lot of that propaganda involves, um, well, number one, capitalism. Just an unstead, unwavering dedication to capitalism, and then I would say a corollary of that would be white supremacy. So I imagine for Malcolm X and for myself as a black man, yeah, that's one part of what Americanism is. And if that's what Americanism is, then I can understand being a victim of it. Additionally, whatever, all the things that make up our culture, consumerism, um, self-interestedness, lots of sugar, name it. Okay, that's what Americanism, I suppose, would be. But when I was watching this clip and I was thinking about what kind of response I would give, the first thing that really came to my mind is during the 1940s. I know that in this area, Louisiana, a number of people had to stop. We have a very large French-speaking population, or we did at one point in America, in Louisiana. Just as in many other parts of the United States, there was a large German population or an Italian population. And around the 1940s or so, there was this huge, we have to be American now, which a lot of it, it is related to war and, supporting war, okay? But, and it's white people supporting war, but, well, it's everyone supporting war, I suppose. But to become an American, you had to give up your language. The German immigrants who came to this country didn't speak German after that. They even changed their names to American names, and a lot of French people in this area stopped speaking French. During that time, to the point where now, if you meet somebody who has French ancestry, if they've been in America their whole lives, or German ancestry, they usually don't know anything about their mother country. They usually know nothing about. They don't speak the language anymore from their mother country. So I thought that was really interesting. How these people become, how everyone in America, really, aside from the Native Americans, who I mean live in the worst state of in America. They're considered fourth world, fourth world living conditions. Um, uh, Aside from them, we've all migrated here and we've lost our cultural originalness wherever that came from, and now we're here and we're the newest, I guess, culture, I suppose, and we're certainly the largest, so we can expropriate our culture on the other cultures. But the one thing I kept thinking about was, I'm getting to the point here, just give me a minute. All the Arabs after 9/11, a whole bunch of them just packed up and then just left, because that fear of, we're not American. The brown people are terrorists now. That means we're not American, so we have to leave. Because a whole bunch of them in New York, especially, didn't even try to fight. They just packed up the day after 9/11 and just headed across the border to Canada. So because they became not American at that moment. So, well, not even not American. They became, no matter you, like, unless you plan on stapling a flag to your chest, you are you gotta prove your Americanism at this point. But the one thing that made me kept thinking about is English language. And a big part of what is Americanism is speaking American English. And I find most Americans, if you don't speak American English, Or if you speak some other language to Americans, they react with this like almost irrational fear or nervousness. They're not speaking English. So I really think speaking English, and by that I do mean American English, is a big part of what is being American. I've even had, the job I work at. I work for a tourism board, so I get a lot of tourists. I'm a tour guide for this plantation. I have videos I made about it, so if you check out my channel, you can see. But um, uh, if this one woman came over and she was talking about immigration and things like, well, she asked me where were the black people in Louisiana because she didn't see a whole lot of them, and I was like, okay. And then we're talking about that, and then she brought up she was at a place somewhere, and maybe in California, and she talked to this one woman, and the one woman didn't speak English at all. She only spoke Spanish. She didn't even feel the need to learn English, and she came to America. And so the woman, she said her first response was to go, well, she didn't do it, but she said her first response was to go, well, excuse me, this is America, and we speak English. And she did it like that, like, all like, and this was a pretty older white lady, and she was all like pissed, right? So, but I was like, when I heard that, I kept thinking about the whole 1940s and everyone in this area forgetting to speak French and things, and I just kept thinking, that's whack. That's whacked up. That's fucked up. That's what American is. It means forgetting. Americanism means forgetting where you come from and becoming something else, like assimilation, like you couldn't pull off committing atrocities if you didn't have a special circumstance to do it and then forget about it, or I don't know. There was something about all that language that really disturbed me, particularly because it was a plantation site, so we're talking about history. But it almost seems like when I talk to people about history, like there's this very large disconnect between the fact that the house I'm showing you existed as a plantation house in the 1850s, and now we're living in 2006, which is only 150 years later, not a long span of time later, and like there's almost like this disconnect, and the disconnect is everywhere in our culture. Like I don't know, if something happened in the news last week, you might have forgotten about it already. The people who it happened to probably didn't forget about it. All these school shootings that keep happening in America, all the random violence that keeps happening, that keeps breaking out. No one even talks about it at all. I mean, I haven't seen one commentary on why it's happening or anything like that. You just sort of a cultural amnesia going on, and I think that's a big part of what Americanism is amnesia, greed. Capitalism's all about greed, amnesia, greed, and violence. Abusive. The characteristics of an abuser. Someone who rapes the land, takes what he wants, and then when someone complains, you don't even know what they're talking about because you don't even it didn't happen. That's the language of an abuser. So anyway, that's what Americanism is for me. It's roller coaster rides and hot dogs and widespread cultural genocide.